Good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to round 8 of the GPVWC Superlights Championship. We're heading to Great Britain. It's Silverstone on the eve, well, I say on the eve, on the week before the actual F1 Silverstone race as well. So a chance maybe for us to get to grips with the track and prepare ourselves for that F1 race to come. I'm Yousuf bin-Suhayl, and I am joined in the commentary booth by Menno Aklon, and we've got the wonderful Tom Stevens working on the broadcast and on the cameras. Menno, thanks for joining me and giving me some company for this broadcast. We're already in qualifying drawing to a close, so I guess we could actually jump straight on in and talk about the qualifying results.
Yeah, we could talk about the qualifying results, but I believe we already have we've got another purple time. So at the end of the session, it is our current pole sitter at the moment, Luke Maguire, who went purple in Sector 1. What can he do for the rest? I believe it's also a green Sector 2, so can he go even faster? I also believe Michael Ayres is going for a very fast lap. Can he improve?
Luke's been sitting on that 29.8 for a while as well, and it looked really quick. Jake Denham having jumped to within a tenth of them. Let's see, though, if Luke can improve. As you mentioned, Michael Ayres on an improving lap as well. Luke Maguire then, across the line, does improve by a tenth.
Yes, and let's see, what did Michael Ayres do? I believe he also improved, but stayed in 4th. So that's very interesting, and I believe, do we now have everybody?
I think we do.
I think so as well.
I think it's just Roberto Pignataro, but I think Roberto hasn't had a good lap yet, and we can see him heading into the pits. So your top 3 then, Luke Maguire, Jake Denham, and Jukka-Pekka Lalu. We're talking about 2 tenths separating them. And I think Luke Maguire has just been very quick. Tom was mentioning earlier on before the broadcast that apparently Luke's been ill this week. So he only started practicing yesterday, and that pace, considering he's only had a day of practice, is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, that's really good. But of course, he knows the car, and I'm not sure how much he's in love with this track. But yeah, so at some tracks, pace, if you've got a good setup and knowledge of a car, pace will come a bit automatically. But yeah, this last lap was, of course, like Mark Webber used to say, a beauty. So yeah, very good. You know, see actually the qualifying results. We now at the second page with numbers 11 till 20. I believe we've got 26 starters, so that's a full grid. Actually, we've got 25 left.
You were close. Yeah. You were close.
I believe we had a 26, but I believe already somebody went out of the server, so I'm sure we will be back with 26 soon. I think everybody was quite close. If you see how quick this track is, and you only see people on what is it, 1.2, 1.3 seconds, that's still pretty fast, Yousuf.
It's a long lap here at Silverstone. So we're heading into the warm-up session. So we've got a 10-minute session before we head on in to the race. Unlike in your sprint series, just the one race, 43-lap race here at Silverstone. And I think this gives us a bit of an opportunity, Menno, to talk a little bit about the championship, because Simon Frelick is, I think, someone you know very well, Menno, and he's running away with this championship. But in the constructors, THR still have a shot at Royal Blue Racing, and considering that we're seeing, considering that we're seeing Luke Maguire and Chris Butcher out qualifying Shimon Frelick and Lewis Bickers, maybe we could see the Constructors' Championship getting a little bit closer.
Yeah, it of course will be very interesting to see what will happen tonight. Yeah, we had Simon Frelick, who was doing a really good job and a really consistent job in the championship, but yeah, it can all change very easily. But now his lead is enormous. But yeah, it can change. If he hits bad luck tonight, then they can get him back pretty quick. But we shall see what actually will happen in the race. So it's something to look out for.
Yeah. Let's not forget though, Luke Maguire, he's currently second, 46 points behind Simon Frelick. But he missed out one race in Bahrain, then in Australia he had a DNF as well. So if you add on like a 40 points, he is right there. And Luke Maguire actually has more wins this season than anyone else. He's got 2 wins. Simon Frelick just has the 1 win in Baku 3 rounds ago. Also wins for Dylan Platt, Michael Ayers as well, Sandeep Singh, Jan Grangqvist. So we've had, 6 different race winners so far this season.
So yeah, it's really a close championship where more people can do well. But yeah, from all this, I think Simon Frelick has been a consistent factor, getting 1 win in. And yeah, his worst result is P4. So good to know. He's got 2 4th places, 2 3rd places, 2 2nd places, only 1 win. So if he would win today, then he's got everything doubled. I guess that's the aim. But yeah, that shows like his consistency over the season. It's amazing. It's just, this is how you drive a championship. But having said that, he has not been, I think, very unlucky. I think some of his rivals were at the wrong place at the wrong time, and that's something. Yeah, you need to be having a bit of luck as well if you have got the pace already. But yeah, he is working hard for it, so let's not say anything bad about that. So yeah.
To be honest with that, I always like to say that as a driver, if you stay out of trouble, it's the sign of a good driver, that you're smart and you can kind of sense sometimes when bad things are going to happen, and you can keep your nose out of it. I say that, however, if it ever happens to me, then it's nothing to do with a driver, and it is purely down to luck.
Yeah. But that's the thing. I mean, as a driver, you can drive smart. You can see potential dangers going to happen, and then you think about that, and you change your way of driving, especially when you're as far ahead as Simon. But yeah, some incidents you cannot. Yeah, those will just happen if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. Yeah, then you will be in an incident. Well, yeah, you're just there. So for that, I think we shall see. I'm not saying I hope Shimon has got some bad luck on his way. No, not at all. But you just see that everything is going his way. But I know Shimon a bit. He's practicing hard for it, and he knows that he can deliver time after time after time, and I do believe that he will do an excellent job tonight, and maybe he can even extend his championship points advantage, because it's pretty big already.
Yeah, well, we're hitting the halfway point in the championship now, and it'll be an ask for Simon to extend his lead, especially considering Luke Maguire starting in Poland. I think Simon starting, was it P6 or something? I can't quite remember the exact qualifying order, but either way, it's not at the very front of the field. But it's a long race ahead of us, and here at Silverstone, there are quite a few overtaking opportunities, a few straights. We're riding on board with Sandeep Singh as he's making his way on to the Hanger Straight, which is one of the best overtaking opportunities. Very long straight before you head into that uphill braking point towards Stone Corner.
Yeah, good onboards to see now from Sandeep. I think another driver that wants to show what he's made of. But he already did, I believe, this year with a win in one of the runs.
It was Monaco. Does winning at Monaco count?
Yes, I think it does count because okay, you can have track position, but to go fast there, yeah, you need to have a certain amount of skills to go fast there. I mean, everybody can go decent at Monaco, but yeah, you need to click with the track, and yeah, that's Sandeep won there. It's I think still a show that he also is very talented.
Sandeep's having a really good showing in the championship as well right now. He's in 7th. He's picked up 2 DNS. We talked about, luck coming into play, so he's not had the best of luck this season, but when you consider it, 7th in the championship and 20 points behind Luke Maguire in 2nd, he's still in the hunt for finishing this championship really high up if he can get the rest of the season together.
Yeah, that's the thing. You need to be consistent, and yeah, that's the whole thing. And yeah, you cannot, at least when you're fighting for top positions, you cannot have a bad race.
Yeah.
And at least when you've got a bad race, you still need to score a decent point. I think that's the main key. If your bad race means you're going to DNF, then it's a hard hard route for you. But if you can just manage to get those decent points in when you have a bad round, then you're doing well. And let's say I believe Luke Maguire last time out, he had an incident very early, but still manages to finish in P11 with the fastest lap, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, then you still get 6 points back. Of course, not what you want, but it's making the best of the worst situation there was at the beginning of the race. So, yeah.
Because otherwise you find yourself getting towards the end of the championship, and then you just think, if only I had just got those couple of extra points, if only I didn't, retire the car. And my mind goes straight to a certain Formula 1 race earlier this season, back in Barcelona, when Lewis Hamilton had his issue on the opening lap, and he almost wanted to retire the car, but he stayed out, ended up picking, P4 at the end of that race. So
was P4 or P5, yeah, one of the two. Yeah.
Either way, it was a bunch of points that went his way, and it just goes to show you've got to keep your head in the game. You can't let your emotions get the better of you once you do encounter some disaster, because things can always come back your way with, safety cars or other drivers having incidents and so on and so forth.
Especially with this 60 rounds championship, you might not be motivated to get those 2 extra points for a certain position, but in the end, those points are very important, or could be very important. So that's the thing.
We don't have too much time left in our warm-up session, less than 2 minutes, and then everyone completes their laps. And then we will be heading into our race session. 43 laps here at Silverstone, the 8th round of the Superlights Championship. I think pretty much everyone did their qualifying time on the soft tyres. I think I did see a couple of medium tyres, but I think it was only about 2 in qualifying, and I can't remember who that was. Not that it'll make a difference because they weren't in the top 10 or top 15 anyway. Something that I do like to do, Menno, before every race is I like to have, a friendly wager, friendly bet. What do you think is going to be the top 3 come the end of the race?
Very interesting. I think
I'm going to write this down as well, so I will be referring back to this during the race.
I think the top 3 will be. I think actually Luke Maguire could be winning this.
Yep.
I think P2 could be 4. Michael Ayers, and P3 will be for Simon Frank. That's my top 3. But I would more or less say there's 6 or 8 guys that can get on the podium today. So it all depends on strategy. And if you only look at a certain speed, then I might have a bit of other names. But if you look at strategy, it can all play out for Sandeep or for Lewis Bickert or for Chris Butcher or for Jake Danahan. So it can go all different ways. So, but those 3, yeah.
I'm going to go out there. I'm going to go for the low odds. So I'm going to agree with you. Luke Maguire is going to take the win. But I'm then going to say it's going to be an old friend of mine, Lewis Bickers, to take P2. Not biased in any way at all there. And then I think that today is the day for THR Racing, Chris Butcher, to complete the podium.
I would sign for that. I think the most important thing for us is to see a very interesting race with a lot of battling and a lot of strategy. And yeah, maybe a bit of drama, but not too big of a drama. So we shall see.
Not F1 2021 drama.
Let's not hope for that. But yeah, you don't know what will happen. It can go wrong very easily. It's only one driver which maybe makes a little mistake, then it then spins. And then there's the question: can everybody see what's happening in front? Yeah, it's interesting. We shall see.
The checkered flag is out on us in the warm-up session as someone goes off. That looks to be one of the Red Arrow Racing cars, so it might have been Yousuf Lalu or George Sutton. Let's talk a little bit more about the track before we jump on into the race, because we've got, I want to say, two real overtaking opportunities. You've got the Wellington Straight and the Hanger Straight. Those are your two big DRS zones, but maybe we could also see some overtakes into Cops Corner if you can get a good one out of Luffield.
I do expect we will see some overtaking there. Of course, those cars have got push to pass, and all depends when will you deploy it in order to see what actually will happen with overtakes. I think the most likely place to overtake will be at the end of the Hanger Straight. That will be a good one. And the end of the Wellington Straight.
Yes, Wellington Straight goes into Brooklands.
Yeah, so there's plenty of opportunity for drivers to overtake. It's very interesting to see how bad the dirty air is for a lot of those drivers. So how good can they follow in like corners like Cops or in Mackes and Beckett's to see if they can actually stay close. Because if they can stay close, then it's much more easy to overtake in one of the longer straights.
And this is the point where I also encourage the YouTube chat to get involved as well. Let us know who you're here to support. If there's any drivers you think will take a win, any upsets that you're expecting for this race. We're getting ready to jump on in to the formation lap, so we'll be getting our grid order out momentarily, and we'll be running you through the grid order for the start of our race here at Silverstone, a 43 lap race. So we're going to be talking about an hour and 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, so I think it will be quite a fast race. Of course, the circuit is fast, so the race will be, I guess, fast as well. So, looking forward. Now all lining up, and we're waiting for the start of the formation lap.
Yep. And away we go then for the formation lap. A chance to get the tyres up to temperature. Luke Maguire starting on pole ahead of Jake Denham. Yousuf Lalu starting in P3 ahead of Michael Ayres. I think it was only the man on P2 who is yet to win a race this season. Sandeep Singh in 5th ahead of Lewis Bickers in 6th. Chris Butcher in 7th ahead of your championship leader Shimon Frelich. And then in 9th is Pascal Prohens ahead of Giuseppe Saracino. Oliver Perikian in P11 ahead of Patrick Rojak in 12th. And in 13th is Fabian Serzic? Am I pronouncing that one right, Mena?
Yeah.
Okay, Roberto Pignataro, there we go. That's something more comfortable for me in 14th. I missed who was in 15th and 16th, so I do apologize. Mateusz Gusowski in 17th ahead of Vincent Gut. Dylan Platt in 19th ahead of Tom van der something. Chris Gitzo in 21st ahead of Ben Willis. Maxi Geisinger in P23. Noah Tomala in 25th. He's an ex-academy driver, if I'm not mistaken. And then Jessica Pelletier in P26. Sorry for missing out about 5 names there. It happens sometimes.
Yeah, but we will have the standings now at the left of your screen, so you can see where everybody is. So we've got 26 starters with Jessica Pelletier running out the field. So it's a quite a packed grid. So 26 is the full grid. So we've got all the teams fielding 2 drivers. So that's very, very good. And we're getting closer and closer to the start of this race. This is a 43 lap race. What will we see? Will we see 2 stops, 1 stop? That will be very interesting. I would personally say this might be a 1 stop. Although with the pit entry, it is very interesting because you actually cut 1 or 2 corners. So maybe the pit delta is not that long. So
well,
it's very interesting to see if people actually going for 2 stop with much more pace in the end. I think that's something we want to look into.
So, Menno, very quickly, who gets into Village first? Is it Luke Maguire or Jake Denham?
It will be Luke. With the knowledge of these cars, I think he can do it. So let's see.
Okay, well, everyone has lined up on the grid. I think someone was a little bit away from their line, but it doesn't matter. We have 5 red lights at Silverstone, and it is a lights out, and away we go. It's actually looking like a pretty good start from the Super Venturi driver, but he's going to have to tuck in right behind your leader. Oh, it's actually close as they make their way through Abbey, now through Farm and down into Village, having a look to the inside, but darts back to the outside. Does Jake Denham. Now he's going to have the inside as they head their way down into the loop. That will lead into Aintree, and it is Jake Denham who leads side by side, then through Aintree. Quite a bit of wobble on the rear end on those cold tyres, struggling to find grip as they tuck back in behind into the slipstream, down into Brooklyn to a corner.
Yeah, I've got Formula 1 flashbacks. They're going side by side. They're really racing for it. Oh, and how does this go? Oh, they're still there. I think there is a bit of drama. We've got a yellow flag, but I believe most of the cars are still doing well. Oh, and a lot of
very aggressive from Luke Maguire. He uses up the escape road, looks for the inside of Cobb's corner, but he won't recreate what we saw last year between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. He sensibly backs out of the move, and the two will be able to make their way into Maggots and Beckett's, but it is Lewis Bickers who leads after a fantastic, it's Jake Denham who leads after a fantastic battle with Luke Maguire, and it is Lewis Bickers who is in P3 ahead of Jukka-Pekka Laulu.
Yes, a great start and what a fight. And now we've got a battle for P5. It's Chris Butcher and Michael Ayres who are battling it out. And now Chris Butcher is ahead, and Chris Butcher is in need of a good result. He has been really unlucky in so many races and could not show his potential. And now this is the time he wants to show that full potential again. But let's see if he can do so.
When you look at the top 10 in the championship as well, Menno, there are only 2 drivers who are yet to finish on the podium. One of them is Jukka-Pekka Laulu, the other one is Chris Butcher. And both of them, from the opening lap of the race, are showing positive signs and showing signs that maybe they could get that elusive podium. It is still Jake Denham who leads down into Brooklyn's corner. But for now, for Luke Maguire, I think it's about kind of holding station and just trying to sit with Jake. We talked before about the lack of practice that Luke had been able to have, with his illness this week and not having much practice. Do you think that maybe he was able to get his qualifying pace together, but might struggle for race pace?
That could very well be the case, and of course this track is pretty difficult for the tires, although I believe we've got quite the harder compounds. So yeah, it will be very interesting to see how his car will respond and react during the stint, and yeah, we shall see. Well, I'm actually now looking at the data, and I believe everybody is still driving without a big incident. We had a yellow flag at lap 1, but I believe there is no damage for anybody now, so I believe it's all looking pretty good.
Jake Denham and Luke Maguire pulling away from Lewis Bickers. They've got over a second between themselves and the P3 man in the Royal Blue racing car. Shimon Frelich is down in P7, so he's gained 1 place off the start. I think he managed to find his way through on Pollens at some point on the opening lap, and now he's behind Michael Ayres and Chris Butcher. Chris Butcher trying to close in on to Jukka-Pekka Laulu as we ride on board with Luke Maguire. DRS has now been enabled. Luke Maguire has to think to the right, instead going to go down the inside, and Jake Denham won't battle too ferociously, but never mind, holds around the inside. Contact between the pair of them as they head into Luffield, getting offline, not being able to find the grip, and now this might even mean that Lewis Bickers can have a go at these two.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's also how will you challenge the tires? How will you heat them? And with this fight already with Maguire and Denham, they are fighting it out, and that will cost tire performance as well. And now Lewis Bickers thinks, okay, bring me in DRS, and yeah, I will have better tires in the end of the stints. While we've got more yellows, and I will look what happened. I believe there's one car in the gravel. It's Jessica Pelletier who's standing still. And where is this? I believe she's actually retired. So we've got a first retirement. I believe it was some sort of a failure. Could have been brake failure, but I am not sure. So unfortunately, Jessica Pelletier is out of this race, which means we've got 25 drivers left. Also, I saw Tom van der Voort, who spun at the start-finish part and now is in P25. So a shame for Tom van der Voort, but the race is still pretty long.
Now, we've got a long train of cars as they're making their way on to the Wellington Straight once again. This time around, Luke Maguire's too far back, so he's not going to be able to have a look down the inside of Jake Denham into Brooklyn's corner. And for everyone else, they've all got DRS, so there is no other battle where one driver has DRS and the driver in front doesn't. So they all stay as they were. As we're going to get a replay, I'm guessing this is what happened into Brooklyn's last time around. No, this is the opening lap. So this is when Luke Maguire tried to hang it around the outside of Jake Denham, and that rear end stepped out, and then he goes down the inside into Brooklyn's meadow.
Yeah, I know. This was quite amazing. They were really both going for it, and it went really crazy here, and it's really good to see, because you want to see this in real life and look how aggressive they were. But it all went well, and that's what you want to see. You want to see them fight for every virtual centimeter of track there is, and I think that's very important.
And this is what happened then on the next lap, and we're going to see Jake Denham try to hold it around the outside. Bit of contact, bit more contact on the grass, and in the end Maguire yields the position. Seeing a comment in the YouTube chat from David Junt saying, karting elbows out. Yes, very much like karting, elbows completely out between these two, but they were able to somehow keep it fair. Now, that was a bit of a mistake from Luke Maguire through
it was a mistake
on the grass. And now Lewis Bickers is looking very close to the rear end of that THR car.
Yeah, and what I did, I believe, no, he still's got DRS. Luke Maguire, I thought he was out of DRS, but he isn't. So let's see if Luke can get back on the back of Jake Denham. That would be very interesting, but that would show that he's got a performance advantage. Of course, he will have DRS, but can he get back to Jake Denham's car, the Super Venturi, who already looked very good earlier today, the car?
We talk about push to pass as well. If you're Jake Denham, this has to be the moment where you use it, because you've got a chance to pull to over a second behind ahead of Luke Maguire. And if you do that, all of a sudden Maguire is going to go from the hunter for the lead to the defender of P2 from Bickers. And as they make their way onto the hangar straight, I don't think that rear wing is opening, is it? It just about is.
Yeah, the thing is you say Jake Denham should, maybe use a lot of push to pass to drive away. Of course, Luke Maguire thinks, oh, I shouldn't have made this mistake. So maybe now he is forced to use his push to pass to stay within that magical second, because the DRS brings a lot of extra free lap time, and that's what you want, at least in this first stint. So it will be very interesting.
Well, Maguire was able to pull ahead of Bickers, almost actually extending his lead to the P3 man to over a second. And don't forget, that's the real important battle when you look at it in terms of the championship. You're looking at THR against Royal Blue Racing. Royal Blue Racing currently leading the championship, 44 points ahead of THR. And right now, Luke Maguire and his teammate Chris Butcher are doing a really good job.
A very good job. think there's a bit of a wiggle there, but still in P3. It all depends when the tires are getting worse, who's got the best pace then, because you can make a lot of gain or you can lose a lot of time then. And if you
Maguire, he's really closing in through Maggots and Beckett.
Yeah, he's really fast in those sectors, and yeah, I already see Jake Denhan just seeing how fast he is, and so just going to save a bit. Oh, this
the
was
closing speed from Luke Maguire.
Oh, Luke!
I know! He pokes his nose up the inside of Jake Denham, and the door is slammed shut. Luke Maguire sent sideways. He's going to drop a position to his championship rival of Lewis Bickers, and down into P3 goes the THR driver.
Yeah, and the bigger problem for Luke is not only that he lost the position because he seems to have the pace, it's the way he now did wear the tires. The thing is, how will the tires go now? I fear this incident might cost him 1 or 2 laps of tire life, but yeah, don't pin me down on that because I am not 100% sure. But yeah, it's of course not ideal for your tires. So yeah, he had a lot of overspeed into that corner, but yeah, it was not really there. The move.
Tries to move on Bickers. I tell you what, he might have flat spotted those tyres. He might have taken some life out of his tyres, did Luke Maguire, but he is still pushing. He still has pace, and you talk about how maybe 2 laps are gone from his tyres. If he's flat spotted them as well, if he's got his force feedback on high sensitivity, your wheel shakes like crazy. I've experienced that a lot because I refuse to turn down my force feedback, and if you ever lock up, you just feel your wheel shaking, and sometimes you can barely even keep the car going straight on a straight.
Yeah, but look at all those cars in one snake. They're also close, and after 7 laps, this is what we want to see. Well, I believe we've got a battle for P9. It's Giuseppe Saracino against Patrick Rosak. So yeah.
Yeah, Saracino up into P9. I do wonder what happened to Sandeep Singh on the opening lap, because remember, Sandeep was starting in P7. Michael Ayers is up into P2. Never mind, he's actually coming into the pit. So our first pit stop at the end of lap 7, and now Michael Ayers is going to have a lot of clear air. This is what happened to Luke Maguire. Tries to go up in the inside, and to be fair, Jake Denham left plenty of room on the inside.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of bumpy at the inside there, so then the G-forces and the dirty air might pull you a bit towards that car. It gives you loads of understeer, so yeah, that's very interesting. Well, let's see where Michael Ayers came out to. He came out in P22, just behind Ben Willis, but it's pretty interesting because maybe Michael Ayers said this pace of the leading group is slower, even with DRS, than what I can do. So maybe this undercut is good. Well, Michael Ayers is off. He is off the track. He had a huge spin, but I believe there is no damage. Yeah, there is damage. He lost his front wing, and he is out of the race. Michael Ayers is out of the race. I am not sure what just have happened here, Yousuf. I've got no idea. But the winner from Canada seems to be out. He's not 100% out, but I fear it will be terminal for the TR Geeks Energy team. Yes, he is out. I am not sure what happened because
Hold
I
tires.
didn't see it.
Let's take a look then on the replay. Michael Ayers on the rear end, making his way through Aintree. DRS. He looks to the outside, goes all the way on the grass, loses the car, and you know what? I'll leave that for the stewards to decide. I think he just got. I don't know why he went for the outside there. He had DRS. He could have just made an easy move up the inside. Here we get it from another point of view, Menno.
Yeah, it's difficult because he goes for a gap that I do believe was never there. So yeah, I think anticipated a bit of an opening of from the car ahead, but the car ahead, I believe, was allowed to keep a quite tight line to the grass, and I think it was not there. But of course, Michael can see this differently. But this is huge for the for the team. We're now one driver short.
So the question now becomes, who is going to be the next person to jump into the pit lane? Oliver Perikian up into P9 as well, so he's gained a couple of positions, would have gained one from Michael Ayres pitting, and has found another position somewhere up into P9. He's over a second behind Giuseppe Saracino, so he's the one in the top of your screen, I think, making it... Oh, sorry, no, he's in the Super Venturi, so he's in the blue car, kind of sandwiched in no man's land right now. We've got another yellow flag out in Sector 2, but that's not going to be affecting any of our top 10 drivers.
Oh, I'm currently looking if something happened, if there are more people who did it.
Ooh, I tell you what, Lewis Bickers is closing in onto Jake Denham, so Lewis Bickers is doing a really good job right now. Not just for himself, but for Royal Blue Racing to try to help his team extend their lead in the Constructors' Championship. Lewis Bickers currently sitting 6th in the driver standings. He picked up 2 second-place results in his first 2 races at San Marino and Bahrain, but after that, he is yet to finish on the podium. So here at Silverstone, at his home race, a chance to make amends on that.
Yeah, to really go faster. I'm actually now looking what the current gaps are. Yeah, we might see some guys pit pretty soon, and the feeling that I have, it will be Maguire that goes as one of the first ones because of the spin he had, or half spin he had before. But maybe he knows that he can gain much more if he just keeps driving at the group. And he still has DRS from Lewis Bickers, so that's the free lap time he of course will get as well. And he's only 1.8 seconds away from the leader, so it's not too bad for Luke. It's still off to play for him.
In fairness to Lewis Bickers, as Jake Denham jumps into the pits, Bickers was closing in on Denham. He was gaining by a couple of tenths a lap. So Denham's coming into the pits, and he's clearly said he's had enough of those soft tyres. He's going to probably, presumably, put on a set of medium tyres and then maybe another set of softs to go to the end.
Maybe a hard tyre? Yeah, it will be the hard tyre, I believe. So, let's see. Yeah, it's the white tyre.
So Denham then on a one-stop strategy, we reckon.
Yeah. I would still think so. It's a long way to the finish, but those harder tires are, they are really strong. So
the important thing is that Denham is out into clear air. He's got no one in front of him. He's not going to have the same issue that Michael Ayres had a few laps ago after he made his pit stop and then shortly after DNF'd. And you can see the gap from Denham up to Pignataro in P12.
Yeah, that's very true. I'm looking into the timing to see where everybody actually ended up.
I wonder if now Maguire will decide to pass Bickers, and if he'll decide, you know what, I've had enough sitting behind Bickers, I'm going to try to make a move, I'm going to try to push. And it's also going to be interesting to see which one of Bickers and Maguire's actually pits first.
They could have been pitting at the same lap, we don't know, we shall see. It would have been cool if you see a pit-by-pit battle, and Maguire goes. And Pekka Lalu and Lewis Bickers are continuing.
So Maguire's jumping into the pits. Now, let's not forget, he was about 1.4 seconds behind Jake Denham prior to the pit stops. I believe that is Pascal Pohens who has jumped into the pits as well behind Maguire. So we've got 2 more pit stops on this lap. We might have some more pit stops later. There's the yellow flag out in Sector 2. Hopefully that is not Jake Denham related.
Where is Jake Denham in relation to Luke Maguire? He's ahead comfortably. Yes, that's at least 2 seconds, and I think it's more.
Oh, Maguire's not out in clear air either. He's going to have to tuck in behind Magut, but he should be able to get past actually on the next straight.
Yeah, but he needs to do that in a better way than, of course,
Michael Ayres.
Michael Ayres did, but he will have DRS, and I think, if I know Vincent Good a bit, he doesn't want to destroy a battle. So yes, this is easy overtake, and he didn't lose too much. I would even say with the DRS he got, it was more or less status quo, and didn't lose anything. But the gap to Jake Denham, I think, has been originally a bit more than before the pit stop. And let's see what the others now do, because let me look at the...
I also want to point out as well here, Meadow, keep an eye out on Giuseppe Saracino and Oliver Perikin, because they both started on the medium compound of tyres, so they have a small strategy advantage in a sense, as Lewis Bickers is going to jump into the pits. This has been a crucial in-lap for Lewis, because if he has got it wrong, he's going to come out behind Luke Maguire. If he gets it right, he'll be on the back of Jake Denham.
But also look at Jacob Pekalalu. He is close. He's quite close to the Bickers, so he is also in that seems got the better pit stop.
So Lewis Bickers will stop a set of hard tyres going onto the car. Bickers does get released in front of Jukka Pekka-Laulu. That's important.
Yeah,
but where does he come out relative to Maguire? Maguire makes his way through Farm Corner. So it is a position lost for Bickers. Jukka Pekka-Laulu, though, is behind Bickers, doesn't have anyone between him. So it's all well for Jukka Pekka-Laulu in the Red Arrow Racing car, but sadly though for the Royal Blue Racing car, losing a position through the pit stops.
Yeah, that's a shame. And we still a few people actually didn't pit. I believe Fabian Suzik didn't pit, Heiko Pum didn't pit, Mateusz Guzowski and Roberto Pregantaro didn't pit. Of course, the top 4 as well. But the ones I just named did start on yellow, while the top 4 all started on the reds. No, then I'm lying, because Oliver Prikian is also on the yellow. So let's see how that will go.
So Shimon Frelick, will he come into the pits this lap, or will he try to stay out for as long as possible? The answer is into the pits straight away, doing the opposite of Chris Butcher. And I think Chris Butcher would have made Shimon Frelick's life very difficult, considering he is the teammate of Luke Maguire, who is in a championship battle with Simon Frelick. But into the pits comes Simon, and Giuseppe Saracino will follow him then.
Yeah, and Jake Denham, or, well, race leader after I think all the stops, is already on at the start finish, already passed. Ooh, he's running a bit wide, Jake Denham, so he is pushing hard. And Luke Maguire is actually catching him a lot. Well, I see.
Oh, that's important for Simon, just out in front of Vincent Good.
Roberto Pignataro spun into Jake Denham, and Jake Denham didn't lose too much with that, but it was a big scare.
Oh, so that's a big train, and that's Jukka Pekka-Laulu trying to take advantage of the colder tyres that are currently on Lewis Bickers, but he's going to have to slot in behind, no way through just yet, and Luke Maguire heading up this 3-car train.
Yeah, well, yeah, Roberto Pignataro got it a bit wrong there and hit what was it? Jake Denham. But of course they are still fighting, so it was for position, so he can go a bit more aggressive. He has got no he shouldn't have any problem that Jake Denham already pitted. If you're not a strategy and you didn't pit, you can battle as hard as you want, of course. And yeah, don't care that Jake Denham might be the net leader after the pit stop. So it's all about.
Let's see what happened then for Pignataro.
Butcher
down into Village. Oh, he just tries to go down the inside. Maybe not enough room being left by Jake Denham, and I think that's going to be one for the stewards to take a keen look at later on.
Oh, we've got Chris Butcher in, and now it's Heiko Pum leading for Fabian Suzik and Mateusz Guzowski in P3.
You know what? I think that's Pignataro's fault. I think Pignataro had a lot of space on the inside. I think Denham did a good job, left a lot of room on the inside of the loop, and I think a little bit greedy on the brakes from Pignataro.
I think it was also a bit of the angle. He was already off for the corner before, so when he wanted to go to the inside, the car didn't turn like it would on the racing line, and it was all a bit of coming together. But not too bad. It was, I would say, a racing incident. It just, it all ended with no disaster, apart from a little spin from Roberto Pignataro.
Now, we're just waiting for 3 more drivers to pit. Well, 4 more drivers. We've got Heiko Pum, we've got Silasik, we've got Guzowski, and we've got Vincent Gut, who all do have to pit, and then a few of the other hard tyre runners. But with the incident that we saw with Pignataro, it has meant that Luke Maguire is on the back of Jake Denham, and this is the battle for the net lead. This time Luke Maguire is far enough up the inside to have a goal. It's the same, it's deja vu all over again. Luke Maguire once again sideways through Stowe corner. And oh, dearie me. That is not what Luke Maguire needed at all.
No, he didn't need that, and yeah, it happened, and I actually want to see that back in the replay.
Yeah. Because he was so far up the inside, I thought he had it completely, but Denham must have braked so late up into Stowe corner.
So look at how fast he is approaching. It's like the last time. He's approaching rapidly. He's going for the inside. He's going inside, but yeah,
it's his fault. He just understeers.
It's understeer. It seems to like Luke. It's very bumpy there.
Oh, it's raining.
Do I see rain?
Is that what happened? Did it start raining when?
Yes,
it might have started raining. Do you reckon he just lost a bit of grip from the rain? Because it's still very early on, so there's not a lot of rain out on circuit.
Yeah, it's now, I believe, 4% rain. But this will make it very interesting because the top three didn't pit. And does the rain come for them at the right time? Then, of course, everybody needs to pit if the rain continues. That's the question. Will it be light enough rain to go on the next tire? Or will it be heavier?
Now, to be fair, Jake Denham is only 9 seconds off Hygo Poom, who is currently leading the race. And we would say that right now, Jake Denham is the effective leader of the race. But because it's raining, the positions are effectively as they are, and it's going to completely neutralize strategy. And we're just going to have to wait and see when our first pit stop comes through. I think if you look at some drivers like Oliver Perikian and I think it was Pohens. It was Perikian and Platt maybe, who pitted just a couple of laps ago. They're going to be seeing the rain now and thinking, maybe I should have stayed out for a couple more laps. And speaking of Oliver Perikian, he is right on the rear end of Platt. Had to think about going up the inside into Village corner. He's going to get a good exit, but no way through down into the loop.
And now with the rain going, you need to play this very smart. But for now, I see 8% rain. And that does tell me it's raining, but not far too bad that you need to go to an inter or a wet tire. So I think it is still the domain of the slick tire.
I do like that comment from Josh Downard in the YouTube chat, just reminding Luke Maguire that there's a bump on the inside of Stowe corner. I think he could have taken that advice a few minutes ago, though, Josh. Dylan Platt, though, going up the inside of someone into Stowe corner, and that was, I'm not quite sure who he did that on, but either way, Platt is up into P11. As Bickers goes up the inside of Gusovski into Stowe corner, and, he's got Luke Maguire a little bit further behind him, and I think that was Lewis Bickers saying, this is how you overtake up the inside of Stowe, Luke. Give it a whirl next time. You have to overtake someone. Yeah,
well, I just saw a bit of a drift of Hygo Poom into the start-finish straight. So yeah, he's pushing, but I fear the best of the tires might already be gone for him. But he's leading the race, and I think that's a positive at all. Of course, strategy, but with the rain now coming, it's not a bad thing. But the rain is not coming bad enough. Well, I see Hygo is struggling quite a bit, so he needs to be more and more trying to catch the car. So he's turning in and the car is not responding like with the grip he wants. I think that's partly due to rain and partly due to the worn tires. So he is fighting the car really, really hard.
Now, Shimon Frelick is right on the rear end of Jukka-Pekka Laulu. We can see that, but that's what I wanted to highlight, the fact that Luke Maguire is in this as well. And now Luke Maguire having a think of the outside into Copse corner. It's wet, it's a damp, and Simon Frelick almost goes wide, but it is a great switchback from Luke Maguire.
Hygo is off! Our race leader is off!
The inside it goes Chris Butcher, and he's going to make the move stick onto Simon Frelick. So both THR cars find a way through on your championship leader into Maggots.
Oh, and now Hygo is in P2. Of course he will go into the pits. I think he will go in. Yes, that's right, but Fabian is not going in. He's struggling as well, but
No, I think you're a little bit ahead of the broadcast.
a little bit. Yes,
bit, by about 5 seconds, I think.
Yeah, we've got a bit of lag, so I might be a bit ahead.
But yes, everyone's coming into the pits. Now, the interesting thing with this means we're going to have some double stacks happening, and that's really bad for the THR cars because they were literally nose to tail coming into the pits.
I see people going to wets, but is it wet enough? That's the question.
Intermediates out for most drivers.
So yeah, the not the full wet, the intermediate wet tires.
But
so
Denham has stayed out. Jake Denham has stayed out, so he's on 28.0 in the opening sector. But we can compare middle sectors, and that's what I want to do. See what the middle sector of Denham is versus Lewis Bickers, who's currently in P7, maybe even Luke Maguire, because that'll give us the best indication of whether it is time for infields or whether the dries are still quicker, as Luke Maguire sends it down the inside of Jukka-Pekka Laulu into Brooklands.
And still is only in P9, but what will the rest do? Will the rest gamble on it?
Oh, Shimon! That was a rear end moment and a half through Cop's corner. What the hell was that? That was some fantastic car control from your championship leader in the 74 Royal Blue racing car. Now, Shimon Frelich is right on the rear end of Chris Butcher. I say right on the rear end. There's a bit of a gap between them, so THR didn't double stack. Middle sector from Jake Denham, a 44.1. Lewis Bickers, 1.5 seconds quicker in that middle sector. So it is definitely time for intermediate. The question is, where does Jake Denham come out versus everyone else? Shimon Frelich staying out for another lap. That is quite surprising to me, actually.
Yeah, it might still be the right call. Of course, the drivers will feel how wet it is.
Hey, where is Denham versus Bickers? Bickers is going to be coming across the start-finish line. We're riding on board with Jake Denham as he comes out of the pits, and there goes a Lewis Bickers, closely followed by, I believe that's a Luke Maguire. Is that Luke Maguire? No, never mind. It's not. It is Hygo Poom. So Denham has lost out in the pit stops, and you've got to think that further up the order, Shimon Frelich yet to pit. The gap is currently 8 seconds from Frelich to Lewis
Frelich
Bickers.
is off. I think
it's too wet. It's way too wet for those dry tires, and Frelich, through Brooklands, loses the back end, tries to save it, and as a result, I think just cuts through Luffield entirely.
Yeah, and this will hurt him, because now, of course, he will switch to the wet compound, but it's too late, so he will, I think, lose a lot of time. And for a driver who scored only at top 4s at all races, this might end up being, looking bad.
Is he trying to stay out until it becomes full wets and essentially skip the crossover pit stop?
I am not sure of that, but that could very well be the case. But yeah, is it wet enough for that to go on that already? I don't think so.
Might be the only thing he's got left. Hygo Poom, though, on the rear end of Lewis Bickers. DRS still enabled. Up the inside goes Hygo Poom. This has ended badly for people up the inside of Jake Denham, up the inside of Jake Denham. But that won't happen to Hygo Poom as he moves up into second. Great move from the TTF driver.
Yes, Hygo seems to be on fire, and yeah, he made a mistake from the lead, but for some reason I think maybe that mistake helped him a bit because he actually knew he needed to go to the pits. He needed to gamble on it on that lap, and I think that was the ultimately the best lap to go.
Take a look though at Luke Maguire all over the rear end of Jake Denham. This has been his real rival for this race. Maguire's been struggling all race long to find a way through on Denham, and every time he tries to make a move, he ends up spinning.
That's true. So very interesting to see what
Luke's gonna watch this broadcast back, and he's gonna absolutely hate me now.
While we have another retirement, it's the HG Esports Bluebot car of Diagoro Starengi, if I pronounce that correctly. So both the HG Esport Bluebot cars are now out of the race. We sadly lost Ben Willis, Marco Ayers and Jessica Pelletier, so we've got 5 drivers already out of the race, but still 21 drivers competing.
Well, I'm just keeping an eye on the road to Formula Racing, guys, because they're currently third in the championship, and that's Sandeep Singh and Pascal Pollens. And where are they currently on the track? They're in P13 and P9, so it's not a good day for them. But here comes Jake Denham. DRS is still somehow enabled, even though it is really chucking it down. There's the bump that has sent Maguire into a slide in the past, but no issues for Jake Denham as he moves up into P2, and now it's on Luke Maguire to try to find a way through on Lewis Bickers and that Royal Blue racing car.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you something. The rain is decreasing, so the rain is stopping. And then you must feel for Simon Frelick, because he nearly had it right. He needed 2 pits now, and now it's only getting better. But I guess the track is still too wet at the moment. But I think we will see people going back to slicks maybe in 5 to 10 laps, depending how fast we will see a drier line. It will be very interesting.
I'm also curious now as well. So correct me on this one, Menno, but how many tyre sets do people have available? Because we're going to be in a situation where I think a lot of people will probably want mediums to go to the end rather than those hard tyres.
They have enough to put on every set they like, so there's no limitation factor for that. So they can go for all of the 3 dry compounds. They can go for another inter set or even a full wet set of tires. So that's not the problem. The problem is, when will you call it? And if you see the top 5 is so close, all 5 of them, if they get it right, if they are gambling it and know it can work out, and they get it right and they get the pace straight away, then you will be the winner of a lot of time. It's definitely too early for now.
So I would just like to say that our current top 3, none of them have won a race this season in Superlights. So we are on course for our 7th different race winner of the season, which is pretty incredible from 8 rounds.
That's very true, but it's still we're only halfway, more or less. So there's a lot of things that.
Simon Frelick's in the pits again, and so is Pollens. So are they going back onto the slick tyres?
They are. I'm pretty sure they are.
Let's see. I see that Pignataro is on the full wet tyres, so. Well, I don't think that's the right compound of tyres to have. Geisinger is into the pits as well, and it is medium tyres on for Pollens. Jake Denham on the rear end of Hyger Puma as he searches for a way through. He might have to do this move through the pit stops.
I will be looking for sector times while Jake Denham is getting really close.
He is getting close. I think Cops might be a bit too ambitious for Jake Denham, so he's going to have to sit in behind earlier onto the brakes, and Hyger Poom ends up running a little bit wide out of Cops' corner and stretches his advantage as well. Jake Denham won't be too happy with that use of track limits by Hyger Poom, but he's just going to sit behind for now. Either way, Jake Denham having a good drive and could be looking to pick up the win. Actually, Menno, do you know how many races Jake has done so far in Superlights, or is this his first race?
I believe this is his first one. I was actually certain. Yeah, he did one last year. Well, we've got Jake Denham in the pits, so I think they called it. Yep. I think it will be quicker, and if you have the lead, you will be very aggressive with pit stops, then of course you can stay in the lead, or in the lead of the group. Let's see what will happen here.
I'll tell you what, Jake Denham taking over for Jan Granqvist in his first Superlights race of the season is doing an absolutely fantastic job. He's released from the pits. Let's see where he comes out. Quite a lot of people pitting on this lap. So I think we've still got about 7 drivers who are on intermediate tyres. Sandeep Singh comes across the line. He's yet to pit. But Jake Denham on these fresh tyres, it might still be a little bit too wet. So let's see if he does struggle on these yellow wall medium tyres. So Lewis Bickers now 1.9 seconds behind Hyger Poom. Lewis has really been struggling in these wet conditions, which is not what Royal Blue Racing needed at all. It's one of their worst results pretty much of the year I think the worst result prior to this was probably looking at Monaco, where they got a second and an eighth. And right now they might be getting a third and a ninth. So things aren't looking good for Royal Blue Racing. Things are looking good for THR. And you can be assured that Constructors' Championship lead is going to be reduced come the end of this Silverstone race if things remain as they currently are.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. Well, I believe Hygo Poom is going in. Yeah, it seems to be the dry tire already is faster, and then you want to switch, of course, as soon as possible. Luke Maguire is in, Hygo Poom is in, so they're all going in, but
Victor stayed out.
It's very interesting. I'm actually now looking what is the sector time of Frelick. 42.7.
Okay, so Luke Maguire then released from the pits. He is still behind Hygo Poom. Let's see where Jake Denham is. There he is, making his way into Abbey Corner now. He's going to be behind Hygo Poom. He's going to be side by side between the pair of them heading into Village, but it's Hygo Poom who has made the pit stop work. He's made the overcut work, and maybe having a look down the inside, could Jake Denham... But in the end, he backs out of it, and he's going to have to slot behind Hygo. And he's got one lap older tyres as well. But maybe Hygo Poom just needs a bit of time to get his tyres up to temperature, and that could provide an opportunity for Denham to make a move.
Yeah, and I already saw is that the dry tyres are much faster now. And especially in Sector 2, I believe it's 1 to 1.5 seconds. So everybody who didn't pit should pit at the end of this lap. That's at least what I expect what will happen.
You'd have to think. Bickers and Lalu, though, they're going to be caught so quickly. So currently, I just want to take a look. Jake Denham, 17.7 seconds. Oh, sorry, Hygo Poom is 9 seconds behind Sidosic. And that gap is closing a lot. Into the pits comes Lewis Bickers. That's a late pit stop. I think he might even find himself behind Luke Maguire. He might even be with the likes of Oliver Perikin, who was 17 seconds down prior to the pit stop.
Yeah, and there's one driver who's really flying, and that's Simon Frelick. Simon Frelick is going really fast at the moment. But
we know how quick Simon is, championship leader as well, let's not forget.
Hygo Poom is leading again. He is getting all the right strategy calls now. So
wait, is that another set of intermediate tyres on Bickers' car?
Should not be. No, it's not. It's not.
Okay, it's green on our screen, but that must just be a bug.
I think it will be changed quite soon, and then it will change.
Okay, it's changed yellow on the timing tower, but it's not changed visually on his car. Not yet, anyway. Okay, so currently your race order, your effective race order as well, now that all the pit stops have been neutralized against each other. Hygo Poom leads from Jake Denham, ahead of Luke Maguire, Lewis Bickers in P4, Jukka-Pekka Lalu in P5, Gudsovski out of nowhere in P6, ahead of Chris Butcher, Oliver Perikian up into P8, with Pascal Pohens in P9 and Shimon Frelick in P10, but what a drive this has been from Hygo Poom and Gudsovski, gaining so many places, starting outside the top 15, both of them.
I think a shout out to Gudsovski. Like Hygo, he did the right strategy call. He was one of the first to jump to inters, and he's also one of the first to switch back, and that's what he's made his P6 now, while Chris Butcher is a bit faster. He was actually looking into it, but he knows about the bug now, who his teammate already caught out twice, so he is waiting a bit longer to have a clean overtake on Gudsovski.
Hygo Poom right now, if he wants his first win of the season, he's picked up a P2, that's been his best result so far, that was back at Baku. But he's going to have to defend not only from Jake Denham, not only from Luke Maguire, but Lewis Bickers as well. He's got 3 very quick, very experienced drivers behind him. And if Hygo Poom can defend them to the line, what a drive, what a deserving win it would be for him as well.
But we're not there yet, and a few of the best sim races of the league are behind him, so he will push really hard for it. But yeah, let's see where this ends. But yeah, Jake Denham looks really fast now, and Luke Maguire as well. And yeah, Lewis Bickers is still on there, so it's still a four-man race.
We'll keep our eyes on Szymon Frelick as well as he tries to make up for the poor strategy core. He's currently down in P11. He's right on the rear end of Shirzik. So we'll see whether any move can happen shortly. Now, DRS is enabled. Jake Denham did have DRS. But just by looking at how much Luke Maguire closes in onto Denham on the streets, I'm just wondering if maybe Luke Maguire is running a lower downforce setup than Denham, because the amount he catches up on the straights is ridiculous.
Yeah, there could also be the push to pass where he's using, but I am not actually sure. But it is, of course, his DRS maybe with push to pass, then he will be a rapid gainer. But yeah, unfortunately we can't see for every driver how much they got left of push to pass, because that will make it very interesting. It could very well be that Jake Denham has got loads of more push to pass left.
That was a mistake from Luke Maguire. Now Lewis Bickers is right on his rear end. Maguire's going to go defensive, pulls back over to try to break the slipstream. But this time around, Bickers not quite close enough to make a move. Maguire still had that DRS toe from Denham.
Yeah, and Mateusz Guzowski still in P6, and he is doing an absolute great job now. So his lap times are very decent, and he's now in P6. And let me actually look. His best result of the season is P13. So can this be something for Mateusz Guzowski? Of course, everybody who puts in time, you hope sooner or later you will get the good result, the result you deserve. And is this the day for Mateusz Guzowski? Let's see.
Wait, no DRS for any of these guys this time round. Luke Maguire was definitely within a second, but he didn't get DRS. Also, Jake Denham now 1.5 seconds behind Hygo Poom. Forget what I said earlier about Hygo Poom having to defend from these three. He's just pulling away.
Yeah, but yeah,
flying.
Two laps ago I would have said it was all about defending for Hygo, but now he seems to be running away. And yeah, did he find more pace? I'm not sure. Did he decide to use more push to pass? It's so strategy related, what we can't actually see, but what they are now performing is that, yeah, we shall see in a couple of times. Oh, we've got a spinner. We've got Guzowski spinning out from P6, and he now ends up in P11. The whole train came by, and it was such a small mistake, and he just was off the line, and yeah, there he was stationary, but he didn't lose too much time, so that's very interesting.
Oh, that's a move. Who is that? Was that Szymon Frelick having a go? No, it wasn't. It was Shirzik having a go at Polenz, and up into P9 is Shirzik, still behind Polenz, and he's going to have to wait a little bit longer. It also has meant that he's coming under pressure now from Szymon Frelick as they make their way towards Kopp's corner.
They also got a good battle, I think, for P15. It's Chris Gitstoff against Maxi Giesinger, and they're fighting for hard as well.
Because it's getting close, but not quite close enough. We talked about just how little downforce Luke Maguire has on his car, and it's making it difficult for Bickers to find a way through, especially considering Bickers is getting a bit of a tow from Jake Denham up ahead.
Look at the group of cars led by Chris Butcher at the moment. Oh, we've got a yellow. Let's see who's got the yellow.
In sector 1, and we see a car off in... Okay, Rozak, so into turn 1. So that's both Hyperion Esport cars having a moment, causing a yellow flag within a minute of each other. So not enjoying the conditions right now, and it was looking so positive for them as well, but now they're down into P11 and P19, so still points on the cards for Guzowski, but he's going to be kicking himself after that mistake on the last lap.
Yeah, but it's like what it says on the Red Wing Poland Strong. I think Mateusz Guzowski wasn't in a way be able to fight like this for the whole season. So
Yeah.
I think this could be a turning point because this is what they need. The results were, yeah, okay, they scored points, but pace-wise, they didn't look too great. And now they look, I think also Rosak, they look much stronger already this round. So they can, I think, and I hope build on this, even though the result could even have been better.
Another yellow flag out in Sector 1 as Van der Voort picks up a penalty. And that's Shirzik on the rear end of Polens, going to look to the outside, and he's going to make the move work as well, around the outside. Parikian loses the rear end. Parikian loses the rear end. He somewhat catches it, but that's going to be Parikian dropping down into P11 and promoting Shirzik up into P7 with Polens and Frelik also gaining a position.
And even Guzowski, so Guzowski now got one position back from earlier. But yeah, the worst part is they now, Guzowski and Parikian both lost the group. So can they get back? Well, we've got a mistake from Guzowski again. Again, he ran wide into that corner. He just can't get it stopped there, and that's, I think, a bit of the problem he now has with Guzowski, because he did run deep again, but he did a spin this time.
Well, Ollie did say in the chat to me earlier that he's going to be terrible. To be honest, he's been having a really good drive as Denham goes completely wide through Kopp's corner as he desperately tries to close in onto Haigapum. He is within a second, but now that is a Luke Maguire right on his rear end as they're going to make their way through Chapel Corner and onto the Hanger Straight.
Yeah, and he just was going to he was going to catch Poom because this lap was much faster than Poom's, but he still then makes a mistake. Is that then the understeer you get from the dirt here? I am not sure, but yeah, Haigapum is already on that second in front, nearly that magical second in front. And Haigo is delivering an amazing drive so far. What can he do in the final 11 laps?
Come on, Frelik, P9. When you look at it realistically, I think a P7 is possible, but I don't think anything higher than that. And it is going to be Shimon's worst race result of the year. Considering, though, he's P9 after having to make an extra pit stop, essentially, that is not bad. And this, we were talking about this before, you know, damage limitation when a race is going badly, and I think that's the situation that our championship leader is currently in.
Yeah, just score points at every round, even if it's the P7 or a P9 or even a P15. Yeah, you want to have these points at the end of the season.
Well, here we go then, on to the old start-finish straight. Luke Maguire on the tail of Jake Denham and Haigapum, and what was a 3-car battle has become a 4-car battle, and now almost back to a 3-car battle as Lewis Bickers starting to fall off from the tail end of these three. In the background, you can just about see Jukka-Pekka Lalu making his way through a Kopsa corner with a back marker just in front of him. That might be Noor Tomala, but I'm not 100% unsure on that. Here's Jake Denham. We know he's got, oh, pardon me, we've got Jake Denham just in front. This is Luke Maguire, and Denham runs wide. He makes a similar mistake to what we saw from Parikian last time round, and it just means that Luke Maguire is promoted up into second.
Yeah, and now there's all to play for Luke. Of course, he had those 2 incidents, but now, yeah, he recovered from it, and with 10 laps to go, he now will be hunting for Haigapum.
Well, Luke Maguire all of a sudden finds himself back into P2, picks up the new fast lap of the race, and is going to be eyeing up Haigapum and the lead as well. If he can get this move done quickly, maybe he can gap Haigapum before Jake Denham finds a way through, and then he might just be home clear. Actually, that's a good point with the tyres. We'll see, though, whether they can make those tyres last. I'm trying to remember what lap they put it on. I think it was, what, around lap 25 they put on these mediums?
I believe so. Let me look. Around lap 25, yes. Should be around.
Oh,
wow.
That's wide from Haigapum. A lot of drivers running wide through Kopp's corner. Now Luke Maguire is well within striking distance. They make their way into Beckett's. Then it's the King of Chapel and on to the Hanger Straight. And let's not forget, Hygo Poom does not have DRS. But Luke Maguire is so far back. We've seen the closing speed from the THR car in previous laps. But Luke Maguire won't be able to close in onto the rear end of Hygo Poom this time round.
No, not yet, but he is pushing really hard now, and yeah, Hygo as well. So who can play better chess? Who will who will be smarter at the end? Who will be faster at the end? It's a game of chess, Yousuf. And
Simon Frelick has made a mistake because he's dropped 2 seconds behind Pollens, and Gudsovsky has just lost P10 to Oli Perikian. So Perikian back up into the top 10, and he's 5 seconds behind Simon Frelick. So he's got a lot of work to do in the remaining 10 laps. I think a very unreasonable ask at this point. So I think Oli is just about trying to hold on to P10. Simon, though, could close back up those 2 seconds that he's lost to Pollens and Shivsek. Either way, though, through Woodcut come our leaders. Maguire right on the rear end of Poom. He's going to go up the inside into Copse Corner. It's so risky to do that, especially when it's still a little bit down. But Luke Maguire pulls off the move flawlessly, and up into the lead goes the THR driver. This will mean, though, that he won't have DRS coming on to the Hanger Straight, but he's already put half a second between himself and Hygo Poom. Can he defend the lead?
He was taking so much risk there, going at Magus and Baggers. He wanted to keep the gap as high as possible so that he couldn't get overtaken, and the car got really light. At least.
Oh, but there's Denham having a look down the inside. He taps the rear end of Hygo Poom, and he sends Hygo Poom the wrong way. Oh, that was an ambitious move from Denham. He knew that he had to get a move on it to Hygo Poom as quickly as possible, but he just ends up sending Poom the wrong way. And that's disaster for the pair of them.
Yeah, and I hope we can get a replay of that, because I believe we can't get a replay, but I do believe that maybe the nose of that car was not fully alongside, and I believe we're already seeing it. I think Jake will give the position back to Hygo, and I think this might be checkmate for Luke Maguire, because all out of this he's got a 2-3 second 2 second lead on Vickers.
Yes.
And yeah, P3 is 7 seconds down now, so yeah.
I'd just like to say, I have no idea how I've managed this, but do you remember the prediction?
Frelick is off! Simon Frelick lost his front wing. He lost his front wing, and this will be disaster for a championship leader. And this is all Luke Maguire hoped for, because he's far away in the championship, but he could possibly get the 25 points, while Simon Frelick might not even score points now. He was in P9, he was in P10, and now he went off. Everybody will have his share of bad luck through the season, and yeah, I hope we didn't call it.
Yousuf Lalu is looking at Jake Denham inside for Stone. Now he's got the outside as they head into Club Corner, but Denham is going to hold on to P4. But as you were mentioning, Menno, disaster for your championship leader. He had a lead of 46 points over Luke Maguire coming into this race. That gap will currently be down to 21 points.
And the car doesn't steer. The car from Simon Frelick doesn't steer. He wanted to go to the right, but the car just went straight. And another 2-3 seconds lost. Let's see where he comes out, because this will be a longer pit stop as well. I think Gitsov, Giesinger and Good could all pass Simon Frelick here. Will put on the red tire, but disaster for a championship leader. And this is, of course, you don't want to have this, but yeah, sometimes it does happen.
Now, I would like to highlight as well, Chris Butcher's been putting in fastest lap after fastest lap. That will probably all change after Shimon Frelick puts on a fresh set of soft tyres, because I'm sure he'll blast that lap time out of the water. But Luke Maguire leading from Vickers. And I want to do a throwback here, Menno, because do you remember what our predictions were for this race?
I believe it was, for me, it was Luke Maguire. And then it was, I forgot already.
It was Michael Ayres and Shimon Frelick.
Yeah.
Now, I have somehow got very lucky, and I would just like to highlight this was not skill, this was complete luck. I had Luke McGuire ahead of Lewis Bickers and then Chris Butcher. So I'm on 2 out of 3 right now. I think Chris Butcher is a bit too far back, 4 seconds behind Yousuf Lalo to be able to make any further inroads though in this race.
Yeah, you say that, but Chris Butcher's got currently the fastest lap of the race, which will give him 1 more point. So it all looks very decent. While the race for the last podium position is on between Heigo Poom, Jake Dennehan and Yuka Lalo.
So 6.5 laps remaining here at Silverstone. If you're just tuning in to GPVWC now, we had a dry start to the race. We had a brief shower in the middle of the race and then back to dry conditions. The shower did mean that those drivers who started on medium tyres and tried to extend their first stint came out very fortunate and were able to jump straight onto the intermediate tyres. We saw the likes of Heigo Poom and Pascal Pollens really getting into the thick of the mix, as that is Dylan Platt, I think, going up the inside of Sandeep Singh into Brooklands and moving up into P11.
Still a lot of things happening. While we're now following that this battle for P11, while Sandeep Singh is actually is having an anonymous race.
Shimon Frelick is still in the points, so he's in P15. He probably will get fast lap as well, and he's right on the back of Geisinger as Luke McGuire sets the new fastest lap of the race, a 1:32.3. But I think Shimon Frelick is going to destroy that once he sets an actual lap time.
Yeah, and more or less, I think he needs to at least go home with a little bit of points.
Well, Shimon Frelick makes a move up into P14, 3.8 seconds now behind Gitso. So maybe a few more points are possible for Shimon Frelick, but it won't be a lot of points, just damage limitation. I think right now he can hope for P13 and the fastest lap, but I think anything more than that is going to require someone to have an accident.
Yeah, and I might get Chris Gitso, but let's see what happened there. Well, after 38 laps complete, it's now. It is.
Someone just went in the wall. Someone in front of Dylan Platt and Sandeep
Gutsovsky.
Singh. What happened to Gutsovsky? He just randomly veered across the track and into the wall. Was
I'm
that
not
a
sure
lag
what happened.
spike?
I'm not sure what happened there. I didn't see it. I just saw the end of it.
I'm just gonna watch this again on the YouTube stream because the YouTube is behind me. So he has a wheel on the grass on the right hand side on the straight and then just veers over to the left. That is bizarre from Mateusz Gutsovsky.
It was just like one wheel on the wet stuff, and then it all went. But he still is in P12, which will still be his best result. The first half of the race was incredible for Gutsovsky. The second half, not so much. Yeah. But he's enough points. Yeah, he can be happy from. Which this now, of course, promotes Dylan Platt into 10th position with Sandeep Singh in 11th position.
Well, Luke McGuire looking for his 3rd race win of the season. For Lewis Bickers and Heigo Poom, it's going to be another podium. Lewis Bickers having had 2 second places prior to this. Heigo Poom just 1 previous podium finish, which was a 2nd place back in, I believe it was Baku, if I'm not mistaken. And Yousuf Lalo once again is going to be narrowly away from that podium.
Yeah, it will be very close now in P5, and maybe he will have a chance at the end, because it will be a fight until the very end.
I'm just taking a look at Shimon Frelick. He's 2 seconds behind Gitso, so he is closing in, is Shimon Frelick, but I don't know if it is by enough. Last time round he gained 2 seconds to Chris Gitsoff, so I think it is still possible for Frelick.
It is still possible, and I do believe he can, with his pace advantage, he can easily pass Chris Gitsoff, unfortunately for Chris, but for Chris Gitsoff now it is important to get points in for the team, and if that's P14, it's still 2 points. So it's very important.
And Lewis Bicker's going to bring in some good points anyway for Royal Blue Racing to spare them, I guess, the disasters that have befallen the championship leader of Szymon Frelick. Igo Poom, though, despite the issues that happened, P3, I think he'll take it. Maybe he could have had a P2, but Luke Maguire was already through. So despite the incident between himself and Jake Denham, things are still looking pretty good.
They are looking still, pretty decent for the team. So that's very important.
And to be fair as well, for Super Venturi, they're going to jump ahead of, well, they won't jump ahead, but they're going to close a massive lead on Road to Formula Racing. Sandeep Singh and Pascal Pollens, both outside of the points. Sandeep Singh they're both in the points, P8 and P10. However, Jake Denham and Ollie Perikian, P4 and P9, so they will close in to third place in the Constructors' Championship.
Yeah, and that's also very important. While Chris Christoph now really is close to be getting eaten by Szymon Frelick, I think that will be pretty easy.
Tell you what, Jukka-Pekka Lalu is really having a look at the rear end of Jake Denham as we take a look with the helicopter shot of Szymon Frelick closing in onto the back of Chris Gitsov, and you have to think this move is probably going to be done up into Kopp's corner at the very latest into Stowe. Here comes Szymon Frelick then, he's got the slipstream, he's got to move to the inside of Chris Gitsov and up the inside into Kopp's corner and up into P13.
Well, I believe there is an overtake. Oh no, there was not an overtake. Well, somebody got unlapped himself. But a lot of fights are currently still happening.
This is your battle for second. They're making their way into Luffield. Jukka-Pekka Lalu having dropped a little bit off the back of Jake Denham. Does Jake have anything left to throw at Igo Poom in his first race of, or his debut Superlights race this year? Looking at a potential podium. He could have won the race, but sadly a mistake into Stowe corner saw him sideways and dropping down the order. Now the best that Jake can hope for is a P3.
So very interesting. The top 5 drivers are driving in 5 different teams, so that's I think very good to see.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Very good to see that.
And in the top 8, I believe you've got 7 different teams. So it's very competitive, but of course the most points at this moment will go to THR.
Yes.
While we're really close to getting the finish. So not long to go now, and then we will know for sure who's scoring which points.
I think it's PHR from Royal Blue Racing and then Super Venturi, because how things are panning out right now.
Yeah. And now the worst 2 positions to be at is P16 and P17, and both the Gold Speed AGG cars from Vincent Gutt and Roberto Pignataro are currently on those positions. So they're you're doing a half decent race, but it's worth no points as it stands. So it's a bit bad for that team, but let's see if something can happen. You never know.
Oh, Pollens is really looking at the rear end of Shirzek. He's been on Shirzek's rear end for a long time, but still yet to be able to find P7. 1.5 laps remaining here at Silverstone. Pollens looking for the outside into Cobbs. Maybe he looks for the switchback as well. Not going to be able to find it. Shirzek does not run wide through Cobb's corner. He's so close to the rear end as we head into Maggots. But you can't go side by side into Maggots and Beckett's. Pollens will have to sit behind for 1 lap longer. I don't know how much more push to pass he has left, but he's fallen back a fair bit from the rear end of Shirzek. He's going to have a DRS. He's got to send on the hanger straight. Shirzek will go defensive at the last second. Pollens moves to the outside into Stowe corner. Great late braking from Shirzek. Will hold on to P7.
Oh, that was a state of intention. Like, no, this is mine. This is mine, Pascal.
Chris Butcher is within 1 second of Jukka-Pekka Lalu. So on this final few laps of the race, Chris Butcher might even be able to pick up a top 5 finish, but we're still looking at Pascal Pollens as he eyes up the rear end of Shirzek, has to think about the inside into Village, but that's not going to work. They make their way down into the loop. They'll lead onto Aintree and on to the Wellington Straight, which will be Pollens' first opportunity of the lap to make a move. He's going to have a DRS. No such advantage is available for Shirzik. Down to the inside goes Pollens into Brooklands, and Pollens will get the move done and up into P7.
Clean overtake, and Fabian nearly spins, but that was from both sides. That was great. They both went for it. They both exactly knew how much room they had to play with. That was a very clean battle. And yeah, in the end, I think the one with the most pace at the end of the race did win. So that's Pascal at the end. But Fabian
Luke Maguire through Stowe corner then. It's not been a flawless race from Luke. He lost the lead on the opening lap. He had 2 half spins, but he's been able to bring it back, and he'll make his way through Club Corner, and he will take his 3rd race win of the season.
And he says, never count me out. 25 points for Luke Maguire, with 2nd position for Lewis Bickers, his 3rd P2 finish of this season, so 3rd P2 in 8 races. So that's quite consistent, but not yet the gold, but that will be happening soon enough. Hygo Boom gets his 2nd podium of the year, but I think he is the driver of the day because he drove with his very best, and yeah, that was amazing to see from Hygo. But he didn't get the win, but he did get a podium. I hope he will be really happy with it. Jake Danahan also a very good P4. Of course, started a bit better, but yeah, it's difficult in these conditions to do the best thing. And P4 is still loads of points. Yuka Pekalalo decent in P5, but Chris Butcher also decent in P6. Pascal Pollens, yes, he's in with P7, so loads of points for him as well. With Fabian Silverstone, well, yeah, P8 after being in P7 at the end, but still loads of points for him as well. So that's important. Oliver Prilikian in P9 and Sandeep Singh rounds out the top 10, and I think a bit disappointed for Sandeep. With Dylan Platt in P11 getting points for TR after his the other car DNF'd. Mateusz Guzowski with his best results. I think he knows the second half was sloppy, was bad, but yeah, there are a lot of things which he can be proud of, and he can build this on to the next event in 2 weeks' time. Because Simon Frelick, P13 with the fastest lap, so he will collect 4 points. With Chris Gistov for Blackhawk Racing in P14 in the last available points position is for Maxi Giesinger. So these are the results for the drivers who actually finished in the points. So it was a very interesting race, Yousuf.
Absolutely fantastic race, especially that first half when the rain started to come down, but a great win for Luke Maguire, one that I'm sure he'll remember for a while. Chaotic. I think with that, we're probably going to head into a short break before we have our interviews.
Yeah, that's I think very wise, because I need a drink after this race.
So do I, man.
It was a very, very good race, and we will have a bit of a dessert in the form of a few interviews, hopefully.
I think let's have a break until everyone jumps into the interview room, and then we can start doing them.
Yeah, and that was on the broadcast.
We're back, everyone, and we are ready for our driver interview. So with that, let's bring in, as I like to call them, my first victim. And that is, of course, our race winner, Luke Maguire. Luke, congrats on the race win. That looked like a very entertaining race.
Yeah, that was a crazy race, to be honest. I don't know. I mean, I made it really hard for myself with just stupid contacts with Jake, but I'll put my hand up for those. I was just kind of, he was gonna turn in on me either way there, so that's my fault. But yeah, I don't know. Everyone probably knows this, but I've been in hospital the last 8 days, and I got home yesterday, and I just said I do a few laps and got up to speed quite quickly, and I think it was Michael maybe the last race that did a day of practice and then won or something. So I think that's the way forward now.
So is that what you're going to do for every race? Just go into the hospital a few days beforehand?
Yeah, no. But can I just say thanks to Toby and for engineering for this race, because every stop was spot on with the weather, and yeah, we really he really I need to pay this win to him, and Chris was gave me a great setup to start off the day on. So yeah, really happy.
Well, wonderful stuff. Menno, I'll throw to you if you've got any questions for Luke.
Well, Luke, we saw you had some incidents while going for a move in the, what was it, at the end of the Hanger Straight. Was that just understeer in your car, or was it hitting bumps, or was it just unlucky incidents you had there?
I'll put my hand up for those. I think they were the first time. It was I was kind of me trying to force Jake wide and not let him turn in, because I know when you're the car on the inside, you can kind of dictate the turn in point of the corner. But I kind of misjudged it on the overspeed. But the second time, it was a bit wet offline, and it just kind of I just kind of understeered a bit too much, and it's a bit bumpy out there. I mean, that corner, it's all off camber and stuff. So yeah, it's my fault for those incidents, but I think I lost more than Jake, and I think we're okay. I think I apologized, and he said it's okay.
Yeah, I hope I have a second question. With your big rival in the championship leader Simon Frelick now, I believe only scoring 4 points, you getting 21 points back. Do you still feel you're in the fight for this championship?
Yeah. I think I needed this race to make up for those. I missed a race. I didn't start a race. I DNF'd. Monaco, the win got taken away from me. So yeah, there's a few things that have not gone my way, and this race is going my way. And I feel like maybe from here we can build a good championship run, hopefully.
Well, I hope for you you can do a best, and you can close the gap even more. Would be good for us and the championship. But of course, we will see next time. Back to you, Yousuf.
Okay, well, Luke, congrats again on the race win, and thank you for joining us for the interview.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, with that, we're going to get our next victim. Now, sadly, we can't quite find Lewis Bicker, so we're going to get in our P3 driver, which is, of course, Mr. Hygo Poom. Hygo, congratulations on P3. You got really close to the race win, and I'm guessing that you had that in the front of your mind for a large portion of that race.
Hello. To be honest, no. I was really happy when I was about to get P10, but suddenly there was rain, and I was the only one. Actually, I think someone else hadn't pitted yet. From that point onwards, I was thinking of the win, but I knew I really didn't have the dry pace compared to the likes of Luke. So I was happy with the podium, but a win would have been better.
Did you know that the rain was going to come down at some point, or did it kind of come as a surprise to you?
I was hoping on it because it is Silverstone. It could be sunny and suddenly there could be a thunderstorm. So at any race in Silverstone, I do expect rain. Especially this race, practice, qualifying, everything was really cloudy. So I wasn't playing my strategy around it. My strategy was just go until I'm slower than the freshly bit hard tires and a bit of luck. came my way, and I like rain, so it went well.
Well, you liked rain, and I think the rain liked you as well there. Menno, do you have any questions for Hygo?
Well, not really actually, but yeah, it was amazing to see that. Yeah, you were maybe a bit lucky with the rain, and well, you had a great strategy. But yeah, it was so great to see that you were always one of the first that went uh for the dry tires again. So it was very interesting to see, and very good to see you were just dictating, I'm going to do this, and yeah, you end up in P1 for a lot of the time. So yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yep, thank you.
Yes, Hygo, congrats again on your podium, and thank you for joining us for an interview.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, and with that, we're now going to pull in the second, oh, pardon me, we're going to be pulling in the second THR driver. So let us bring in, I almost dragged in Luke Maguire again, but I meant to be dragging in Chris Butcher. Chris, congratulations on the race. Is that how you wanted it to go, or do you think you could have maybe snuck your way into the podium?
Yeah, I think a podium was definitely on the cards today. I think the race pace was really strong. As usual, qualifying was a little bit of a weak point for me, but got it in the top 10, which I've not managed to do too many times this season. So I guess I've got to be happy with that. Yeah, just the pit stops didn't quite work out for me. Obviously, we had to prioritize Luke because he was the lead car, and he, realistically, he's our main contender for the drivers' championship. And yeah, it was just we think we probably lost about the same amount of time that I kind of lost by going an extra lap on the slicks when we wanted inters, but compared to double stacking. But yeah, I think if I'd have been able to put on that lap, then I think a podium might have been on the cards. I was kind of hoping that Lalu and Denahan would fight for a little bit longer, but yeah, I think we've got to be pretty happy with that result. Luke's been ill, so he's not been able to put much time into it, and to come away with a race win after feeling pretty dreadful and a P6, it's fantastic result for Luke, fantastic result for the team. Puts Luke right back in the championship fight, and we gain on Super Venturi as Royal Blue. Sorry. So yeah, it's back on as the fight, I think. So we've got to be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up because you've gained a lot in both the Drivers' Championship and the Constructors' Championship. Heading into Austria next, how much more do you think you can take out of Royal Blue Racing?
Well, we're cautiously optimistic with the upgrades we're bringing for Austria. So with a performance like that at Silverstone, when neither of us have had much time to do much preparation for it, I think we've got to be pretty confident going into Austria. It should suit our car with the upgrades we bring in. So if we can continue this form, then hopefully we should continue making inroads. And it's not just about me and Luke. Hats off to Tom, who does all the background work with the R&D and helping with the setup, and Tom Ely as well for doing a bit of engineering in the background, and last but not least Toby as well, because he made the right calls at the right time today with all the pit stops and the tires. And it's a big team effort at THR, and it wouldn't be possible without the effort that everybody puts in. So yeah, it's not just about me and Luke, it's about everybody, and hopefully me and Luke can sort of do everybody proud and bring the titles home at the end of the season.
That's everything from me. Menno, do you have any questions for Chris?
Well, yeah. So you said it was just a bit unlucky with strategy wise, but was it close for rain? Was it close to stay on the dries the whole time, or was it really too wet to continue?
Nah, Inters was definitely the right call. I mean, there was a tiny bit of a dry line, but the dry line wasn't even as wide as the car, so you got a tiny bit off the sort of middle of that, and you went out wide, and we saw quite a few drivers make mistakes. So yeah, Inters was definitely the right call. It was sort of, I'm going to say 2 seconds a lap quicker, something like that. and you had the security of being able to run a little bit offline and not risk the car. So definitely the right call. For me, it would have been a lap sooner, but it's just the timing of it. I was a bit too close to Luke for the double stack. And we sort of risk track position, so we decided the best thing was to stay out. But yeah, overall, I think we made the right calls today.
Okay, that's very good.
Well, Chris, thank you very much for joining us, and congrats again to you and the team for today's results.
Thank you very much.
Okay, with that, do we have any more potential victims, Mano?
For interviews, I am not
Or
actually
have, because I see some people in the interview chat, but I'm not
Yeah.
sure if they're drivers.
I think most of them are managers, and let's keep it with this for now. I think we had enough
Yes.
people being interviewed, and I know a lot of the team members, team bosses are really happy with the results. But yeah, let's give them time to
Yeah.
be happy and and before the big work for Austria is starting. So yeah, I really enjoyed this race, Yousuf, and yeah, Silverstone is always it's a bit of a spectacle, and it's always good racing. It was really close, and I think for a long time it was really close. I believe I remember lap 7, lap 8, and we still had a long snake of cars, which was really good to see. So it was really close, and then we had the rain, which of course makes the difference a bit bigger. And yeah, you need to be a bit lucky with your strategy as well. Of course, you can call it, you can test it a lot, but it's of course not said you get it absolutely right with what the rain is going to do. But this was a really good race, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Well, we had 43 laps of absolute fantastic battling here for round 8 of the Superlights Championship in GPVWC. Luke Maguire took the win over Lewis Bickers, and Hygo Poom rounded out your podium. We'll be back in a couple of days' time for our Super League race here at Silverstone, and we'll be back in 2 weeks' time for our 9th round of the Superlights Championship in Austria. Until then, stay fast, and we'll see you whenever you tune in again. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.